Hello, it is Felicia Bender, the Practical Numerologist. Today we're doing some quick videos in a video series about the best advice for each life path number. So remember, these are short and sweet. These are 3 pieces of advice that I've pulled together. And just like any piece of advice that you might get in your life, either take it or leave it, right? If it resonates with you, pick it up and run with it. Otherwise, just leave it at the door. All right. What I will also mention is this: if you're someone who watches astrology videos, for instance, and you look at your sun, moon, and rising sign with the videos, the same can apply here. If you have a 7 in any significant placement in your numerology chart, you can watch this video and get some good information out of it. So if your life path is a 7, if your expression or your destiny number is a 7, your soul urge, heart's desire, your birthday, that sort of thing, anytime a 7 shows up, this could be good advice or good information for you. So we're just going to dive right on in. All right, here we go. Piece of advice number 1 for the 7 life path. All right, here we go. Give yourself permission to explore what spirituality is or means to you. Often, as a 7 life path, you're born into a family with very strict, very rigid religious beliefs. And you may or may not believe that way. If you do, you can become an expert in it and really devote yourself to it. And if you don't, you get to work against that, or not against it. You get to decide what you do believe in, right? B, you could be someone who is brought up in a family or environment where there are no religious or spiritual belief systems being presented or taught to you. And then you really get to explore what it means to you. Some 7s can have a little bit of the middle ground there, but usually I find 7s kind of go from way over there or way over there, because that means that part of your life's work, really the trajectory, is because remember, the 7 is that spiritual seeker, the psychic, the intuitive, the the mystic. You're mystical and magical, but you're also really skeptical and very brain driven, intellectual. I see a lot of 7s. It's really funny when I watch podcasts or something like that. I'll pause it, and if someone is particularly brainy and in some ways very steeped in materialism, and yet always really pushing and questioning the spiritual stuff. And if they're well known enough, I'll look them up, and by golly, I got to tell you, they're usually a 7 or have a 7 really prominently in their chart, because that's really what you're about. You're about opening up to it, but it's also about the process, not about the destination. All right. So that is piece of advice number 1. Piece of advice for the 7 number. The second piece of advice is truly, madly, and deeply learn to meditate and practice other forms of relaxation. Let's just put it that way. You can call it spiritual connection. It will result in spiritual connection. But at the beginning, it's really good to find ways to make friends with and quiet your mind, because the 7's mind is very, very, very chatty, and will often keep you up at night in that loop, right? So the sooner that you can learn meditation practices, relaxation practices, these things, the better off you're going to be. All right, third piece of advice for the 7 is to be aware that often you might have sensitivities. Okay, these, because you're you are super psychic. Sorry, not sorry to break it to you, if you don't know that already. And yet, what I find happens quite frequently, very frequently, with those with sevens prominent in their chart, particularly a seven life path, is that the way that you learn, that you get out of your own way in terms of being too rational, too logical, too practical, too materialism in terms of the way you think, has to do with some of the mysterious things that happen in your body. And that can be anywhere from, just food sensitivities. You get rashes, you have stomach aches, nothing super serious, but it weighs on you and it dogs you and it's uncomfortable enough for you to go, what's going on here? I've got to figure this out. And usually you'll go to through the traditional medical trajectory with no results, no positive results. And that will often bring you into a more spiritual practice, into seeking out other forms of healing. And in terms of anything from Reiki, energy work, acupuncture, anything and everything, right? Breath work, yoga, all of it, all of it, all of it. And you are meant to explore those modalities and find your niche. Find the one that really speaks to you, or the combination that speaks to you. So as a seven, those would be the three pieces of advice. If I had been a seven, I would have wanted to know early on.